Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? Edgerman sent a job coming to you guys today with another deck. So today we are taking a look at another standard build, and this one is going to be Boros Aggro post rotation of Scars block. So it's not quite that time yet. We still have Scars in standard, but this is one of those decks that you guys can put together. It's fairly cheap. There are some expensive cards, but you're not going to be going way too deep into this deck. And the best thing about it is all the cards are going to be standard legal post-rotation of Scars block. So you guys can actually invest in some cards that will stick around for some time. So we're going to break this down into a couple of different sections, mainly just like the lands, the creatures, and then the other spells. But before we get to that, if you guys have any suggestions for decks that you would like to see, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll take it into consideration for future decks. So, like all the other videos that I've done and all the other decks, first we're going to be starting out with the land base. So, we have Cavern of Souls first here, so it's going to be a playset, and this is probably the most expensive card in this deck, but it's pretty much the best way to get the mana that you need. If we're in a tough situation, we need like double white for our humans, we can name humans for the deck, and if we need mana for Hellrider, we need that second red mana, we can name Devil, and just kind of work with it. So whatever situation you're in, Cavern of Souls can kind of help you out there and get you the mana that you need. Countering stuff isn't really as relevant in standard just because this card did get printed and everybody just kind of flocked away from using counter spells. So it's not really that we have this card so our stuff is uncounterable. It's mainly so that our stuff can actually be played. We have the correct mana for it. So a playset of Cavern of Souls, and I highly suggest dropping the money for these. It's a really awesome card, and it works in other decks as well. But playset of Cavern. We have Clifftop Retreat, so this is going to be a playset as well, giving us red and white. Alright, so I'm going to put that down here. For other non-basic lands, we have Slayers Stronghold, so we're going to have two of these. So for, I guess, 3 lands, in a sense, 3 lands worth of mana, you're going to be able to tap this and 1 red and 1 white. And target creature gets +2/+0 and gains vigilance and haste until the end of the turn. So it's going to be awesome because some of our creatures have first strike. So that's one way to deal with some stuff. Also, giving a vigilance and haste is always nice because you get that blocker during your opponent's turn and stuff like that. But still a really awesome card. Very inexpensive land. Only a couple of bucks, I think, right now. Alright, so 2 of those. Put that there. For basic lands, we have our plains. So 3, 6, 7. 7 plains. And 4 mountains. So that is our mana base. Pretty tight mana base, 21 lands. We're working off a lot of low mana cost stuff, so it kind of works out where if we need our 4-drop, we can get to that mana, but you don't want to get a lot of lands past like 4 or 5, somewhere around there, just because it becomes redundant. That's why we run a small number of lands here. So now we're pretty much taking a look at everything else in the deck. So we have our creatures on top here first, and then the non-creature spells. So Champion of the Parish. So whenever another human enters the battlefield, he gets a +1/+1 counter on him. So we're running a playset of him because we do have a fairly dominant amount of humans in this deck. So playset of Champion of the Parish. If I can get that. There we go. Doom Traveler, awesome card, another 1-drop that we have in this deck, 1/1 for 1, and whenever he dies you get a 1/1 white spirit creature token onto the battlefield, so that's nice if you're trading creatures or if your opponent drops some kind of a wrath effect or spot removal, anything like that. So you get your 1/1 out of it. Just kind of, there we go. Next we have Loyal Cathar. So this is going to be a playset as well. So double white, 2/2. He has vigilance, and whenever he dies, you get to transform him and bring him back. So he's going to be a 2/1, but he is going to be a black creature this time around, which isn't relevant because we're not running here Honor of the Pure because it's not going to be printed in M13. But Loyal Cathar is definitely still really awesome card, and again, like I said before, survives Wrath and comes back, or removal, or if you trade creatures, stuff like that. So, play set of the Cathar. We have Lightning Mauler, so another 2-drop. So, 2/1, he has Soul Bond, and himself and the creature that he Soul Bonds to, they both have Haste, which is going to be pretty awesome. So you can get a big bulky dude out there and Soul Bond them and just kind of have some fun with it because they both have haste they can swing in. So that's another really awesome thing about Lightning Mauler, and I kind of like the shenanigans with that where you can just have that creature and have it swing in that same turn. So play set of Lightning Mauler, there we go. Next we have Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, probably one of my more favorite cards in this deck. So it has First Strike, it's a 2/1 for 2, and non-creature spells cost 1 more generic mana to cast. So because we're running a fairly decent amount of, well, basically creatures in this deck, it's really going to screw over any decks that like to run a lot of non-creature spells. So it makes stuff a little bit more costly to cast and could potentially screw up your opponent in their plots and plans. So play set of Thalia, very awesome card. Just watch out because she's a legendary creature. You can't have 2 of them out at the same time or else they die. Silverblade Paladin, another really awesome card. So we're going to be running a playset of this as well. Fairly straightforward for the deck. 3-drop, 2 white, 1 generic, Soul Bond. And Silverblade Paladin and the creature that it's paired with, they're both going to have double strike. So it's going to be really awesome. They deal first strike combat damage and then regular damage, and he's a 2/2. So if you're able to pair him with like Lightning Mauler or something like that, it could be really awesome because he has haste and can swing in. We have Fiend Hunter. So this is going to be a 3-of in the deck. So whenever he comes onto the battlefield, you can exile target creature, and if they get rid of Fiend Hunter, that creature comes back, but it's always in your best effort to try to keep Fiend Hunter on the field and just keep that one creature away, especially if it's something really big. So 3 Fiend Hunters for some removal. We have Hellrider. So this is going to be a playset for us. So he's a 4-drop, 2 generic and 2 red. So pretty intensive for the red mana for us because we are running a pretty dominant amount of white in this deck. But he has haste, he's a 3/3, and whenever a creature you control attacks, he deals 1 damage to defending player. So pretty awesome that you could deal and shave off some damage really easily with him. And if you guys haven't noticed, this is a Innistrad block constructed deck. So if you're doing any block constructed stuff with Innistrad, you can have at it and have some fun with it. But I tried to keep it kind of true to that and not use any stuff from core sets or anything like that. But now getting to the non-creature spells, we have Faith Shield. So this is going to be a playset. So for 1 white, target creature, or target permanent, should I say, you control gains protection from the color of your choice until the end of the turn. And Faithful Hour, if you have 5 or less life, instead, you and each permanent you control gain protection from the color of your choice until the end of the turn. So it could be nice if you're just getting really screwed in the long run. But at the same time, it helps if you get protection from a specific color and you're able to swing in because your opponent can't block. Or you decide to trade creatures with your opponent, they swing in with something, you block with something, then you drop Faith Shield and still keep your dude. There's a lot of different scenarios where Faith Shield becomes relevant, but it just kind of depends on what you run into. Against aggro, it's an awesome card, and it's, like I said, it's fairly inexpensive, it's an uncommon. So that was the big thing about this deck, was just getting stuff that was inexpensive to newer players and stuff like that. And the last card that we have here is Gather the Townsfolk. So it's a 2-cost, 1 generic, 1 white sorcery. Put 2 1/1 white human creature tokens onto the battlefield. Faithful Hour, if you have 5 or less life, put 5 of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. So an awesome way to get tokens. Very good for the amount of mana that you put into it. If you have Thalia out there, it's still really easy to cast, and that was the big thing about this deck, was you want to keep the mana cost really low so you can cast a lot of stuff effectively. And at the same time, if you have Thalia out there, you can still use stuff like Faith Shield and Gather the Townsfolk with ease. So that was the main goal for this deck. So like I said, it's really inexpensive. The most expensive card for this deck is probably Cavern of Souls. And I guess if you guys want to make the stretch and not really spend that much money on this deck, you could switch Cavern of Souls out for maybe like 2 or 3 mountains and another plains or something of the sort. I haven't really tried it out without the Cavern of Souls because it is still a fairly important card in the deck, but you guys can work around it if you don't really want to drop all that money on it. But still, inexpensive deck. All the cards are going to be standard post-Scars rotation, so keep that in mind if you're looking for something to play and just tweak it whenever Return to Ravnica comes out, stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely something to have fun with. There's also going to be sideboard suggestions down in the links below, so be sure to take a look at that. The entire deck list is down below as well, so take that into consideration if you missed what amounts of something were in the deck or anything like that. But sideboard suggestions, stuff that you could side in, Zealous Conscripts, Riders of Gavony, stuff like that, and what they would be good for, what certain matchups, stuff like that. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, maybe even favorite it or share it with your friends. Any bit of that helps out with the channel and getting my name out there and becoming more popular and getting more viewers and stuff like that. But you guys pretty much know that game plan already. But like I said, thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a wonderful, fun-filled Magic the Gathering day.